Hello there, and welcome to the Achieving Tranquility Summit. I was just talking to my friend Jess Sherman here and saying this is the first time I've actually interviewed someone where we're talking about kids. And this is so important, right? Because they are our future. I was just saying it is a no-brainer that we need to discuss nutrition, brain health, mood, all of these, the cognitive function, everything when it comes to our kids. So Jess is exactly the person I want to talk to about this. So let me tell you a little bit about her before we actually get started. Jess helps kids and families connect. Along with being a certified teacher, Jess is an author, speaker, mother, and award-winning functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, board certified in practical holistic nutrition. Her book, Raising Resilience, Take the Stress Out of Feeding Your Family and Love Your Life, and her coaching programs have guided worried parents of children with learning differences, anxiety, ADHD, ASD, and mood disorders towards safe, effective tools to help them reduce reliance on medication and set their kids up for a bright future. And you can find her at her website, Jess Sherman. That's Jess, Jess, Sherman, SHERMAN.com. Welcome, Jess.
Hi, thanks for including a conversation about children, because children and tranquility don't often go hand in hand or in the same sentence. So thank you for tackling this.
Exactly. Well, Jess and I are both registered holistic nutritionists, and we come out of the same school from Canada, the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, and also functional diagnostic practitioners. So this is going to be great, Jess. I'm really, really looking forward to our conversation. So let me you started talking about how kids are beyond high levels of anxiety right now, and so are parents, and how kids are really attuned to their parents in their moods and their stresses and all of that. How can we help them besides just saying, hey, everything's going to be fine during the time that we're living in, this new time of transformation and change and novelty? How do we do it, Jess?
Oh, I wish there was a simple answer. There's not a simple answer to that. A couple of things that you just said. One is that we co-regulate with our kids, right? This idea that our kids our kids' developing nervous system and our nervous system go hand in hand. Like our kids, if there's one thing children are fantastic at, it's mirroring, right? It's learning. They absorb and they reflect. That's like they're programmed to do that. They absorb stuff, they reflect stuff. And one of the things that they're absorbing and reflecting is our state of function as parents. So it's, when I say that, I always say that with a little, I always feel like saying, but it's okay, because it kind of sounds judgy, right? To be like, oh, well, if your kid has anxiety, it's all your fault because you have anxiety. And that is absolutely not the case. Absolutely not what I'm saying. I find it empowering and exciting to know that we can help our kids regulate and feel good by working on ourselves, because it's actually a lot easier to work on yourself than it is to work on, helping another person. So that was the first thing when you said that. I was like, oh yeah, we got to talk about co-regulation. Like if you truly and honestly think that things are not going to be okay, and you tell your child everything's going to be okay, they'll see through that in a snap. Like that just, it's not going to work. You need to know that things will be okay and really know that things will be okay in order to convey that message to a child. So it changes the project, right? It changes the whole project of like, how are we going to work through this? And it's loaded, right? Like what I just said is loaded, because it's not easy to, face your own stuff and reflect back on yourself, but it is extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah. Jess,
so that's
it's true. And I'm going to come out here and say, I am not a mom to a human, but I am a mom to 2 dogs And I will say this, when I walk them and I am stressed in any way or preoccupied, I may be, let's say, doing something that I do not ordinarily do, and I really get down on myself for doing so, texting or listening to something, maybe distracted on my phone as I walk. My dogs are extremely rambunctious, misbehaving. They'll be eating worms on the side of the road. They're just, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. So
It's so interesting.
they, we are just masters at co-regulating, and it doesn't have to be human. It can be just, and I'm curious to see like what my plants would look like, right? Over time,
That's
having a,
so interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not that surprising. I hadn't thought about it that way. It's not that surprising though, because we are energetic beings, and dogs absolutely, respond and absorb and reflect. And again, it would be a really interesting, it's a really interesting experiment to do with your animals or to do with your children, just to very consciously, it's an easy time to try this, maybe not easy, but one time you might try this is like over at the family dinner table. If you're eating together as a family, what would happen if you dim the lights, light a candle, put on some soothing music, maybe have some, essential oils, like some calming scents. Consider your own state of being, do it on a day when you're not stressed for time or running out to a soccer practice or what have you, and you actually have some time. And focus on your own state of being. Make sure you're very well nourished yourself on that day. You've had a proper lunch, and you're not absolutely ravenous at dinner because you haven't eaten. Just see what happens to your children when you regulate their environment like that.